This is Things You Might Not Have Heard, and I am Jay Clifton Payne, and today is Thursday, January 25th, 2024. I'm ready to present to you yesterday's latest in information, politics, current events, and pop culture as we present this live 5:50 a.m. Central Time on this Thursday morning. This is your go-to supplemental source for both mainstream and unconventional news stories that you may have missed throughout the day, being yesterday, with a little added context in as well. In the queue, 8 stories from the past day that you deemed as conversational and recrafted into this newscast for here. We'll explain the vetting process in just a bit, plus give you some extra today things, fun things for today that you will enjoy. So stay tuned for the end. I guarantee you will enjoy it. So also visit our website. This is theconversationproject.com for more information about the full offerings we have the Conversation Project. And of course, you can email us anytime you need to at the conversation inbox at gmail.com. Let's get into the news stories for this morning. No particular order as they're being presented. Just the order to kind of lay down. Although the first story we have for you, this first headline, is the big story. It's the top story for the morning. It happens to be that way. Ironically, coincidentally, however you want to put it. And it headline reads, Jim Harbaugh leaves Michigan for Chargers head coaching job. We sort of cheated on this one because earlier in the day we fed the feed with the story for Jim Harbaugh getting Michigan's highest football offer to stay as head coach for a college program, or college football's highest offer. And then, of course, while that was there, we knew down the lines that he was basically signing his deal with LA Chargers. So that happened. So we combined the two stories because they're basically the same story. Jim Harbaugh was a football coach at Michigan. As I said earlier, he's going to back to the NFL, going to be the new head coach of the Los Angeles Chargers. A big change because Harbaugh just led Michigan to a national championship. He's going back to the professional realm where the players don't necessarily listen to you as well, but in the NIL area and the portal area, they're not listening as well. Again, Michigan was able to do a lot of things and get past, a lot of labels like being called cheaters. And Harbaugh will have to live on with that going forward in the Chargers realm in the NFL. Although a lot of people aren't so happy to see him back, the competition is kind of ready for him. We'll see how the Chargers do and Jim Harbaugh does in the next couple seasons in LA. The second story for this morning, headline reads like this one. A plane that Russia says was carrying 65 Ukrainian POWs crashed. So this is a very complicated story because it's a simple story that the two sides make complicated. There's a war going on between Russia and Ukraine. You may have heard about that. There a plane that went down in Russian territory near the actual border of Russia and Ukraine. You may have heard about that. Russia said the plane was carrying 73 people, with 65 of them being POWs from the Ukrainian war, Ukraine POWs going to Russia to prepare for a prisoner swap. They also said Ukraine shot the plane down. All that stuff went down. Here's what's got interesting. There's two sides to the story. The Ukrainian side says, no, we didn't shoot the plane down. No, we didn't know anything about a prisoner swap. And no, we're pretty sure there weren't people on that plane. We're pretty sure it was missiles. So who do you believe? Maybe both. Maybe neither. Probably not one or the other because you have no reason to go with this the way things are going. We'll get back to more Ukrainian war stuff in a bit, but it is something that happened yesterday that was a big deal happening, breaking as Russians TV basically said that Ukraine, shot down their own people. That they knew what was happening, or Russia said Ukraine was shooting down its own people, while Russia is taking the blame for trying to hide what they were doing, sending missiles and the plane going down. It went down about 60 kilometers. It went down pretty close to a residential area in the land, so it wasn't a small deal going down in itself. But the fact that what was on it is being disputed by two very sides who have reason to believe themselves, not the others, and the world has to just take what it can take. The next headline we have for number 3, that story reads, Avril Lavigne announces greatest hits tour with all-time low and Simple Plan to join. So it's not her clone. It's actually Avril, we're pretty sure, on tour again with her greatest hits tour, hitting the scene in May of this year. Bands All Time Low and Simple Plan, two bands I've never heard of, will be your special guest going through this. This is significant for Lavigne, who is celebrating a successful career in the music industry, although not doing a lot of newer stuff. We're coming up in the age, in the middle 90s, I'd say, where she was, young teen pop star singing young teen pop star music, and that's essentially what she's known for. She has some deeper hits and deeper cuts going with it, and just done some more things. But her live concerts apparently are a great thing to see, even as she has gotten older, singing young kid songs and talking about skater boys and whatnots. We'll see what happens come March for this big tour. Our next story headline reads, man who admitted stealing Wizard of Oz ruby slippers from the museum tells us it was intended to be one last score. The ruby slippers that were stolen from the iconic movie The Wizard of Oz were pulled in 2005. The person who stole them, Terry John Martin, a former mobster, confessed to the theft. He described this as one last score. The motivation was financial gain, thinking the slippers were actual rubies. When they weren't, he found out that they were just glass slippers that were red. He basically dumped them and tried to hit them out the way. They went missing for all this time, and they discovered them in 2018 being the FBI, and then Martin confessed to it, solving this long-time mystery of the theft of the ruby slippers. We now know the answer. It was supposed to be a big-time score, except he wasn't selling the ruby slippers for auction. He just wanted the rubies, and he was the rube in the process. Let's talk about story at number 5 this morning. That headline reads, Jon Stewart will return to The Daily Show as host, just on Mondays. Jon Stewart apparently wants to go at it with Rachel Maddow, technically, even though they're not in the same time slot, as he's coming back to the TV, whatever you want to call it these days, back to The Daily Show, as they announced earlier last week that they're just going with correspondents to basically sit in the chairs for the next couple of months for the year. And then he dropped Jon Stewart. Jon Stewart had time on his hands, him being dropped from Apple, doing the trouble with Jon Stewart, or the problem with Jon Stewart, and so needing something to do essentially, and maybe he needed a check. Maybe the Daily Show actually needed him to right the ship that's going on right now. Jon Stewart will be back for Monday editions of The Daily Show, Mondays only, just like Rachel Maddow's for the Monday editions of The Rachel Maddow Show, whatever that time slot is called. And we will see how it comes back. Right now, The Daily Show is seeing a lot of just revival, if you will. A lot of people are flocking to the show at this moment in this time because it's good comedy, good fodder, and there's so much political stuff going out there. It's easy to write the jokes. With Jon Stewart back at the helm for one day, we'll see how well those jokes flow as well. The story at number 6 this morning, headline reads, Hamas official rejects two-state solution, says militants won't recognize Israel. Now, this is kind of the reverse of what we've been hearing on the other side, where we're hearing that Israel is essentially not going down for the two-state solution for Palestine, for the Gaza Strip, for what's going on. Essentially, the goal by the rest of the world is to have two nations, two states in the region so they can govern themselves. Israel says they must govern this strip of land because the people there are trying to kill them. The people in that strip of land, the Palestinians, say we must have our own land because we should kind of take care of ourselves and shouldn't live off the aid of Israel, which is kind of bad. Both those statements can both be true at the same time, and life can be kind of really weird for both people. In the meantime, the Israelis are also saying they don't want a two-state solution, being Netanyahu specifically because, you know, as you said, they believe they need to govern, the Israelis need to govern over and lord over the Gaza Strip to make sure that the people, the terrorists, aren't attacking them. Yet, however, they still attack them. This is something that's, been going on for literally thousands of years between the two tribes, going back that far, and it's not going to be solved in 2024 by any means. Maybe we'll get some sort of resolution where people will get a little nicer about it. Maybe. Let's talk about the story that's number 7 for this morning. The Rock appointed to UFC WWE's TKO's group board of directors. It's a lot of letters there. TKO Group is the actual group that now owns WWE and UFC, the both fight entities. And The Rock is on the board of directors officially. He can officially say The Rock anytime he wants to because not only is he on the board of directors, but he also was gifted his trademark to his nickname, The Rock, originally known as Rocky Maivia, a name that was an amalgam of both his father and his grandfather. It turned into The Rock, and his attitude changed and his fortunes changed in the WWE. And then The Rock has been his moniker that's gone along with him all along. Just like Stone Cold Steve Austin, although he doesn't own his either, I don't believe. The Rock can now officially put The Rock on things, on everything he wants to, and just kind of go with it. Selling his own merch as The Rock, not attached to WWE or TKO, which he might want to keep doing anyway since he's on the board of directors. We also basically kind of shout out that he will be at WrestleMania and he will take on Roman Reigns, although storylines actually must play out that way first. So we will see a little more of The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, in WWE for the next couple months apparently, because maybe it's part of his contract. Maybe it's in his deal. And the story we have at the 8 spot today is this one. Headline reading: U.S. Embassy steps in after American professor advises adding a pinch of salt to cups of tea. We almost had an international incident over the last couple of days as a professor from a university in America, a scientist, said a pinch of salt to cups of tea is actually good for it. And by the way, steep it really, really fast. Just dunk it and then squeeze the bag. Um, the perfect cup of tea for his research basically ticked off the entire nation and an uproar going forward and forced the U.S. Embassy to actually write a letter saying that the national drink of the UK should not have sugar added to it, should not have salt added to it. I'm sorry, because it's not proper. They understand it. We understand it. We're going to just talk to our scientists. Oh, by the way, don't put sugar on grits. Just got to throw it out there because I had to. Let's go on to our apologies, errors, and omissions section right now. No real apologies or errors, other than the fact that if you're watching the video, you get that I still hadn't quite got the gist of the pictures in the video, so we're a slide behind in most of these things. If you're just listening to the audio, none of this makes any sense. So have a great day on your end. My end, I've got to remember I got these extra slides, so it is what's going on. A quick hit from a story we can't talk about because not enough time. Look for the headline from Matt Gaetz. Representative Matt Gaetz, the House Ethics Probe, is looking into more work into the probe as new witnesses are being contacted in the cases of him having sex with minors. We've gone 11 minutes, so I think we can say Matt Gaetz having sex with minors may be an issue and not have a strike against it at this point. So if you're curious about the story and how the investigation is going on Matt Gaetz, because you might have forgot about this one, look for this online in our feeds and, of course, across the entire internet, what's happening right now. Let's talk about our feeds right now. Our feeds are a very important part of the show, and it is how we get you guys to tell us what stories are important, what stories are interesting, what stories to get into what's happening. Go to our feeds on Facebook and Twitter. Facebook.com/this is a conversation project and Twitter.com/th_conversation. Every 50 minutes or so, we post news stories, articles from various news agencies, various websites, sometimes bloggy, sometimes really staunchy. Some of them you may like because they are actually factful and pretty good. Some of you may not like just because of the cut of their jib, to be honest. We give you a new cut every 50 minutes. You engage in it, like it, love it, hate it, share it, engage in the story as best as possible. You do your thing, and the higher score and engagement it gets, the better chance we have of talking about the story in a next iteration of the show. The top 12 stories, top 15 stories of a day, like today, will be pulled in for tomorrow morning, and we'll pull 8 of those stories into the headline stories here. Here's one I think we're going to talk about because I think it's going to be big, although it may burn like a hot flame all day long. I think you'll get enough views that will have some run off this one. Headline reads: Trump threatens to blacklist Haley donors. And what's that mean? Donald Trump put out a post on Truth Social sometime yesterday, basically tripling down on the fact that Haley should jump out of the race for the president, at least for nomination for the GOP, and basically said that anybody who's still giving money to Nikki Haley at this point essentially is going to be cut out of MAGA land once he's eventually made the nominee and becomes president. So if you want to get on this gravy train, stop giving gravy to the other lady and just get on the train right now. We can go deeper in discussion on this one. This is just a teaser part. We'll go deeper into talk. If you deem this one worthy, go to our feeds on Facebook and Twitter. Let me know if this is a story we're talking about tomorrow. We're talking about our spotlight sponsor right now, which is Zenni Optical. Zenni is the place, and our website link, this is conversationproject.com/Zenni, is your way to get great glasses for whomever in your family needs them. You, your spouse, man or woman, your kids, boy or girl, your mom, your pops, people that you know, random strangers on the street if you want to. You can tell them about Zenni Optical and they can get a great pair of glasses for a great price. They have great frames. They're not cheap, cheesy frames. The frames are beautiful and the frames cost at a low cost. That you don't have to pay $100 to send them back. If you don't like your frames, don't like your glasses, just send them back. They'll send your whole money back. The lenses, they have all the technology for lenses that you can ask for. They have thin lenses, they have thick lenses if you must have them. Bifocals, trifocals, transition style, blue blocking style, and sports glasses. Anything you need in a pair of glasses you can get from Zenni Optical, and you can help us out because we get a small commission from any purchase you make through our link. Go to this is a conversationproject.com/Zenni and help a brother out, help the whole show out, help people working behind the scenes out, and help yourself out with a great pair of glasses at a great price. You can't beat the price, number one, and you help us out by buying from our link at Zenny Optical. Let's talk about the Conversation Project for a moment. A bit of time to hype ourselves up and promote ourselves. The Conversation Project lives online at conversationproject.com. The very quick, very rundown of the calls to action we have here in the promotion section is to stop by the website, because everything you're looking for is at the website. Links to other sponsors, links to our partnership page where you can partner with us directly, links to our feeds, explanation on how things go out, links to where you can find more of us or different ones of us. Just want the audio where you can subscribe to the podcast. You want the video in a different place, it's there as well. You want the shorts, it's there as well. You want to just get the links in the newsletter, subscription link is there as well. Everything you need to know about us is at our website, and it saves us time in the newscast to make it more pithy, more quick. So with that, stop by our website. This is theconversationproject.com. Very quickly, once again, you can find links to the feeds. You can find links to the partnerships page, links to the sponsorships page, links to past episodes, links to get new episodes. And of course, the one thing that's not on the website, but we actually have a link there as well, is our email, because it lives in another area of the internet. This is the Conversation Project's email address is theconversationinbox@gmail.com. Email us anytime you want to for giving us advice on what to do. The free stuff you do, some of those things take a little bit of pay, some things take a little effort, but the free stuff, as you say, going to the feeds and engaging the stories, and of course, emailing us are the most important things to do. But if you want to partner up, trust me, we can use the partnership help. Let's get to the fun stuff that we promised at the end of the show. So the show is ending. Let's get to the fun stuff. We always begin fun stuff with birthdays. Birthdays are the funnest of the fun stuff. Today, we get a big shout out in our birthday list going out to Volodymyr Zelenskyy. You may have heard of this guy. He may be someone that's in your news feed quite frequently. He may have been someone we sort of brought up in passing a bit earlier in the show today, because he's the president of Ukraine. Started off as a comedian and literally did a political show as some guy that ended up being the president. He's now the actual president of Ukraine. Had to deal with Donald Trump and the whole Joe Biden, find me some dirt stuff. And then now dealing with a war with Russia, where Joe Biden's not actually paying the bill. Well, technically he's trying to pay the bill, but Congress is blocking that. Mr. Zelenskyy, Volodymyr it is 46 years old on the day. Happy birthday to President Zelenskyy. Also birthday wishes to Jennifer Lewis, because you can't miss out on her. 67 years on the day. And Alicia Keys, 43 years old today. Our history lesson for today is an interesting one, because on a day that had a whole lot of kind of firsts, the first Winter Olympics in 1924, and a man getting the first hand transplant in 1999, we're going back to 2021. The former Miss Canada finalist became the first person in the world to graduate with a master's degree in the Beatles. The Canadian singer Mary Lou Kennedy, that's a lot of names, was one of the first students to sign up for a course on the Fab Four when it was launched in Liverpool Hope University in March of 2009, and she wrapped it up in 2 years. So master's degree in the Beatles. Congratulations on that. Yes, the first Winter Olympics, and yes, the first hand transplant, but hey, the first person with a master's degree in the Beatles. January 25th, the 25th of January, means it's 11 months until Christmas. That's it. 11 months till Christmas. Christmas coming back again in 11 months. Don't forget, don't get lost. 11 months till Christmas. 11 months till Christmas. One more time, with feeling, 11 months till Christmas. Celebrate, put down a calendar. Remember, you have 11 months until Christmas. And with that, we're going to celebrate wrapping up this Thursday. One more day of things you might have heard coming up on Friday. So if you want to see a good story in the mix, go to our feeds and tell us what stories to talk about, because you do that. Email us at theconversationinbox@gmail.com and check out our partnerships page and see if we're worthy of some extra help from you. Stay limber, stay hydrated, stay on task for all the grand things you're here to do. We have a Friday edition coming up tomorrow, so 8 news stories from today to get you through, get you started on Friday, and of course, planning for our weekend editions of stuff. So that's happening as well. So with that, I bid you adieu. Love you. Mean it. Let's do this again tomorrow, shall we?